I'm like, what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm living, I'ma live it to death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm living, I'ma live it to death. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Living Hope Agency call. I'm excited for our call tonight. The title of this call is, how to learn telesales fast. And I think I've got two great special guests who they have learned it fast. They were guys that they came up in the business with me here over the last, about 2 years. And, we all cut our teeth in the field, meeting with clients in person. And, it was a great way to build a foundation. And there came a time when, we kind of felt the sand starting to shift, and we still have, a handful of agents that are going and they're meeting in person. But, if we look at that leaderboard, the craziest thing is 2 years ago, every single policy on that leaderboard was sold in person. If I look at that leaderboard today, I was just looking at it. 22 out of 25 agents on the top 25 are full-time telesale agents. Insane. It's actually insane. It kind of blew my mind a little bit and just made me realize that the time is here. And for me, I think it's to each your own. Selling in person, it's easier to learn. Telesales also can be learned quickly if done right. And that's what a lot of tonight's going to be about, is just learning how to get started fast. And we've got an event coming up here shortly that we're going to talk a lot about tonight. That's going to be an awesome opportunity for you guys to learn quickly. So we can talk about, some tips and tricks and some different things here. I'm going to bring on our special guests here where they're going to tell you, some great things that they've learned, some roadmap and some road bumps to avoid. But at the end of the day, there's been a lot of trial and error to be able to get to this point. So I've got two vice presidents here on the call, two guys who, each consistently, help 10 families a week. Josh Lockhart and Mike Curry. How we doing, guys?
Hey, doing good.
I'm good.
What up? I'm excited to have these guys on. We did a call, like a year and a half ago that came up in my memories. It was a mortgage protection clinic, and it was one of the best calls that we've ever done. So hopefully we can recreate that. We're talking about how to do telesales fast. So Mike, I'd love if you just come on real quick and just talk about your transition from in-home to telesales and just kind of the value you saw there, and just, a few little things maybe about what somebody can do to kind of get started fast and learn it fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, appreciate you having me on. So I think I remember when they kind of rolled out the whole telesale thing back. It's probably been a year ago now, and when they first announced it, I was kind of pissed off, to say the least. And it's funny because now I fully embrace it. But the main reason was here in my mind, I'm like, okay, so I'm taking these mini travel trips, and like now somebody from Arizona is going to be buying leads where I'm driving to, and it messed me up, because I'm like, well, what if they're buying the leads and then you know what I mean? So I had actually a conversation with Daniel Broadway around that time. I was like, dude, we've got to figure out how to do this, because I see this is the future. In my mind, it's the future. And I was really scared about it. And I think my fear is what held me back. And that's kind of what I've been fighting this last, year, is with new agents or people that want to, kind of transition. And when I say transition, it's like doing it, right? Like if someone still wants to go in the field, like you said, do whatever you want. But for the people who want to do it over the phone, there can be a fear there. And I think that's why, there's a narrative that's pushed that it's harder and all these different things. And it's one, either someone hadn't done it yet, or there's a fear that, you're not going to, because you do have to, consistently produce. So anyway, long story short, bumps and bruises along the way. But I think the biggest thing is just staying consistent in it, and, doing Zoom and all that stuff. And I'm getting off topic, but that's kind of how I found my way into telesales.
No, and I appreciate you saying all that, man, because the honest truth is that, it's funny, we call it a narrative, and it's like when you're pushing it, you don't want to call it that. But, the honest truth is, I was probably one of the biggest proponents of that. And you hit the nail on the head with that. It's because I hadn't done it. Now, here's the honest truth. I have done 2,000 in-person appointments. I have. So you got to imagine my level of confidence in doing that. Now, what I really needed to see was, now it's been a year. I needed to see what it looks like when an agent gets past their first 100 telesale appointments. I needed to see those same exact things. And what we noticed is, there was different things that people talked about, like, hey, your persistency is going to be less. You're going to have lower premium per home. You're going to have to spend more on leads. You're going to have to do X, Y, Z, all of these things that, not only, I said, but, many of us said,
I said,
and you said it too. And we've noticed that hasn't been the case. So I appreciate you just being, transparent with everything. I guess, give us like 2 or 3 tips, before we kind of talk and bring Josh on, and just, what were some mistakes that you made in the beginning, learning telesales, and what would you kind of do if you could go back to day one, Mike? And let's say you didn't take the opportunity to go in the field, but you decided to sell over the phone from day one, and think, back to not just you today, but Mike, who had no business experience, Mike, who was just coming out of repairing refrigerators, failed his test 4 times, that Mike, what advice would you give him if he was jumping on the phone and trying to go all virtual?
Yeah. So first things first, you have to be on Zoom, on live dials, and you can't be a ghost. It's a lot of the same principles, just like on a dial day, right? Except every day is your dial day. So you have to be on Zoom, and you have to unmute. Those are the 2 biggest things. If you're buying leads, and you're unmuting, then I think that, honestly, there's really no barrier at which you can, achieve, because we had a couple guys today dialing for their first time on the phone, telesales day one. And, they're learning. What are they learning? Well, to go a little faster, right? That comes with time. They're little things like that, right? Like, nobody's going to kick you out of the house if you're slow on the app. Well, on the phone, you're a little bit slower. They just get tired. Like, this guy's taking forever. Click, right? So little stuff like that. But then on the other side of the spectrum, it's like, okay, just if you buy enough leads, just make sure you resolve every lead. Versus in the home, it's like your goal is just to book 15 appointments. On the phone, it's like, no, resolve all 100 leads, right? And make sure that every single person you get a yes or no. It doesn't matter, yes, no, whatever. Just resolve the lead. And I think that's the biggest key is live dials and resolving leads as a new agent.
I love it, man. Appreciate you kicking us off. Josh, I'd love to bring you on here and just hear, a little bit about your transition. I mean, you'll take an in-home appointment every now and then, if you're able to, but things change. For you came into this business and there was just an absolute abundance of local leads. And had I asked you, 8 months ago, would you prefer in the home or would you prefer telesales? You would have said in the home 100% of the time. But then things change, and you could have just said, what, things changed, I'm not going to go run any appointments. Or you said, what, I'm going to do what I have to do because I got 2 little girls at home and a wife that I got to take care of who are counting on me. And, you made a transition, and now, you still, of course, like I said, run a few in person, but you've mostly transitioned to 100% telesales. So just talk to us a little bit about that transition and kind of, what was it like? I mean, was there fear around it, like there was for Mike? What were kind of your thoughts as you were like, oh crap, I'm probably going to have to transition here?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like Mike said, like you said, we were running on this really simple, straightforward, everybody was doing the same thing schedule. And so when telesales came out, honestly, I thought there was 2 types of people that did telesales. Either you had something going on in life where you had to, maybe, your car was down or like just some kind of situation, or you were just looking for an excuse not to work hard. That's just kind of how I thought about it. And, but as things change, right, there's all kinds of ebbs and flows in business, in life, and certainly when it comes to leads, whether, the more people that do telesales, they're buying leads across the country. And so that affects your lead flow. And that was, if there was like any pro and con, like I still don't believe one's better than the other per se. I love going to the home. I love sitting with clients, but there's pros and cons to both. A pro of telesales is you can buy leads wherever you want to. So if you really like XYZ lead, you can get it in a different state or what have you. And so the thing that I was kind of worried about, which I think is a potential trap, when I first got FFL, what I loved was it's like, hey, full-time Monday, Thursday, 30 appointments a week, rinse and repeat. 30 appointments a week, dial Monday, dial Thursday. That was it. There's no extra, right? In telesales, it's like you could do one call, one closes, same day appointments. You hear all these different things. And the trap is you hear somebody go, well, here's what I do, and I sell a lot. So you're like, well, let me try that. And the next week, you kind of, for the lack of a better term, half-ass it. And the next week, somebody else says, well, here's what I do, and this is how I sell a lot. And you're like, well, let me try that. And next thing you know, it's been a month. You've tried 4 different ways, and your numbers are down. And so I saw a bunch of people fall in that trap. Admittedly, I did a little bit too, because you're trying to try these. Well, maybe this way will work better. And that's why I love what we're getting ready to do, to kind of just put that to bed and kind of give everybody a track to run on. And so it was a little bit of trial and error, kind of figuring things out. And at the end of the day, the numbers are roughly the same, where it's like, hey, as long as you're getting on the phone every day, getting your appointment count in, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. You have to focus on word tracks and tonality and all these little things a little bit different. But as like Mike said, as long as you're getting on live dials, you're around other people that are having success, you're going to pick up a bunch of things and you're going to win. And so, as long as you're able to keep it very simple like that, then it's going to be great for anybody.
I love it, man. Appreciate the transparency as well. So guys, here's the deal. We're embracing this. I'm at a point right now where, guess what? My circumstances changed, and I, helped, over 1,000 families on my own pen in the home, and I moved across the country. Okay. And guess what? During that transition, I had to surrender my licenses, reapply for new resident licenses. I couldn't sell during that time. And I still had a bunch of locked out lead flow coming in Oregon. So what did I do? I had, 70, 80 direct mail leads stack up over the course of 3 weeks. And I said, I have to resolve those. And I'm not going to be the guy who comes to my new home and then flies all the way back to my old home just to go do a travel trip once a month. That makes no sense. So I said, you know what? I have to figure it out. And of course, I also had, some fear around it. And if I'm being transparent, I still do, to hit the same level of numbers that I was hitting before, I've had to have, my numbers have not been the same in this transition to learn. However, I'm still, sitting on appointments, I'm still making sales, and I'm learning every single day, back with everybody. So kind of where we're at is we looked around and we saw what the most successful people in the company were doing. And, none of us created this lock-in concept, but it was really Mike, last month or the month before that, kind of had, he went to an office in Arizona with, a new team that's coming out, under the Real Financial Group, and saw just what it did for them being in person, office culture. And I think that's really what sparked it for him, and he wanted to create something where people could come together. And, that's where I kind of had a light bulb moment last month when, Mike was planning this event. And I was like, we talk about how you can learn how to sell insurance easier in person. Well, you can also learn how to telesale in person too, not in person with your clients, but in person with other people that are doing telesales, in person with other people who've embraced the virtual lifestyle. Because what I think you need to see, and I think these guys would agree with me, is you have to see what somebody else's day looks like. You have to see what it looks like to sit in a chair for 7-8 hours and dial. You have to see what it looks like to create that discipline. Admittedly for me, I didn't know what it really looked like to create that discipline. Because for me, I got good on the phones and I was able to book my 15 appointments most days before noon, 1, 2 o'clock. I had lots of days in the beginning where I was booking from, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But now with telesales, especially if you're competitive, regardless of if you made a sale, you're still on the phone from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. because you're trying to get the next one. You're trying to do a little bit more production. You're trying to help one more family. So for me, that was a struggle that I had at first, was realizing, hey, well, I'm gonna have to put in the work no matter what. And I'm gonna be sitting in this chair and I have to see what that discipline looks like. So coming into one of these lock-ins, to be around other people that are doing it. And, on live dials, here's the honest truth is, we're on live dials and, myself, Mike, Peter, and Josh are all running an appointment at the same time. Well, only one of us is going to be unmuted. Okay. Only one of us is going to be unmuted, or maybe one of us is running an appointment. We forget to press unmute. Well, when you're in a lock-in, there is no mute button. You're right around everything. So that goes for you listening to a top producer. We just, I saw Candy just, registered for the lock-in event, big deal. Cause she helped 97 families over the phone last month, all 100% virtual. And she's going to be there. And guess what? You can listen to her and see how she helps families, exactly what she says to one call close, exactly what she does. And there's no mute button. And guess what? The opposite side of the spectrum is you're brand new and you're sitting there in a room with everybody and you're dialing and there's no mute button for you either. So I was at Mike's office like 2 weeks ago and there was a newer agent there and he was dialing and maybe it was a second or third dial day. And Mike was able to just like look over his computer at the guy and was like, hey, don't do that. Hey, change this one little word track and watch what happens. Whereas, you're brand new, you're on Zoom, you're muted, you're shy. Maybe you have every intention to unmute, but you're like, maybe not this call, maybe next call when I have a little bit more confidence. You're in a room with people, there's no mute button. You get to hear what top producers are doing and they get to hear you and help you make critiques and potentially help you avoid some mistakes and find success faster, which is what this entire training is all about, is helping you guys find that success faster. My question would be to anybody, if it's going to take you time to learn anyways, when we were in the home, we talked about getting to your first 100 appointments as quickly as possible. You get to your first 100 appointments, you're going to have seen almost every scenario you could possibly see. It took me about, 9-10 weeks to do my first 100 appointments. And then Peter came into the business, did 100 appointments in like 5 weeks. And his production was like 2.5 to 3 times better than mine. It made sense. He got through it faster. So are you going to be the person who says, I'm going to do telesales because I like this freedom, work from home lifestyle? I'm going to go into my spare bedroom. I'm going to get on live dials, but I'm going to stay muted. And I'm just going to try to figure it out. I'm going to buy some leads. I'm going to go to work and I'll see if it works. And then you do that for 2 or 3 dial days. You spent money on leads now 2-3 times. Maybe you've had a couple of appointments. Maybe you just are the person who just figured it out right away on your own and you're more power to you. But most people who just try to figure it out on their own, they get their butts kicked because it ain't easy to transition into a one call close if you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't heard somebody do it, if someone hasn't made a critique for you. And are you going to be the person who sits there and goes 2-3 dial days trying to figure it out and maybe you figure it out, or the person who gets it corrected quickly, figures it out in a day or 2, and then now you have confidence moving forward? Because here's the honest truth. 2 to 3 bad dial days, most people don't survive. Most people do not survive 2 to 3 bad dial days. They go, okay, that's just how this business is. It's not going to work. It's not for me. I'm not cut out for it. Most of y'all have no idea how good you can get at this business if you just had the proper tools, the proper guidance, and the proper feedback and criticism just to make a little tweak, just a little tiny tweak, the tiniest little tweak, and everything would change. The person would stay on the phone. One thing I picked up from Mike and these guys at their office and Dustin, hey, go grab a pen. Like that right there, like obviously like common sense, but it's like, hey, it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes. Go grab a pen. And like they go grab the pen, you're in the appointment. Like it's so simple, the littlest thing. But I was like, okay, if I just grab that, I know that I can take control and do a one call close. And maybe those are the things that you hear, or maybe that's the feedback that somebody gives you and they help you make that first sale. So now you come out to an event like this, which we're going to talk about and highlight here in a second. And let's say that, a telesales lock-in, and we're going to compare it to a sales conference. So you want to come to a sales conference. We had a big one in Charlotte in June. It was fantastic. Everyone went to it. They loved it. 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Long day. There was like 30 speakers that spoke for between 10 and 30 minutes. And a lot of people left the event motivated. And some people did something and most people didn't. That's just the honest truth. So you go to an event, you fly cross country, you get a flight, a hotel, car rental. You're there, you get motivated, you go back, you do something. Maybe you come to the event and you leave and nothing changes. Or flight, hotel, car rental, you're at a lock-in. And guess what? No, we're not talking at you for 8 hours. We're working together for 8 hours, 3 days in a row. And we're going to help you make a sale. We're going to help you make multiple sales if you're willing to put in the work and actually go all in it to the event. And you're going to come home making money. Now, maybe you just break even on your leads and your flight and your hotel and your car rental. But if that gave you the confidence to now go back to your spare bedroom and go to work, like, don't you think that would be worth it? Because now you're not just figuring it out. Now you have frame of reference. Now you have a frame of reference to how this works. And you just go, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Now it's just how many leads am I going to purchase and how much activity am I going to put in? You come to this event to make money. So anybody who's thinking about it as, oh, well, it's going to cost me money to be there. We talk about sales conferences. We say, hey, how much does it cost versus how much is it worth? What is that information gonna, get me? And at the end of the day, that information applied can make you millions of dollars, but most people don't apply it. You come to one of these, just by being around everybody, like no one's going to force you to do anything, but you're going to be so uncomfortable at this event if you're not working, that by force, not, us saying you have to do it, but by force of peer pressure, you're going to apply these principles. You're going to go to work, you're going to do the activity. And if you do the activity, you're going to come home with some money. You're going to come home with some confidence, which is powerful. Okay. So this is an open invitation to everybody. We don't need 100 people at this event. 100 people in this office would probably be kind of crazy. We could probably do like 40 to 50, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people, serious agents who want to come to this event. So let me just go ahead and quickly share my screen. We'll go through it real quick. And then I'm going to bring these guys back in to talk about, really how you can take best advantage of this. So this is not going to be the last one. However, that doesn't mean that this should be the excuse that you go, I'll go to the next one. Because guess what? We're coming up on convention time, and convention's the next big push. We might have another one in December, might have another one in January. We don't know. We're not going to even say it at this point. So don't just say, I'll come to the next one if this is the thing that's going to help you survive. Because 2 to 3 more bad dial days, and you might not be here. You might not even be here by the next one. So I just want to keep that in mind. This is a serious business. You might not be here. You might not survive if you don't take your business seriously between now and then. So November 10th through 12th, we're going to be here in Greenville, South Carolina, brand new office, 5,000 square feet. We just redid a bunch of stuff. Last time the guys came in here, there's cubicles everywhere. We just got rid of all the cubicles. We're bringing in all kinds of, desks and chairs. We'll have enough in our main dial room to be able to hold, I think like 35 or 40. And I think there are, 6 or 7, private offices that could probably hold another, 15 to 20, main dial room. Bunch of new decorations went up. And if you come out, brand new podcast studios going in, would love to film some content with anybody who comes out. So, Telesales Live Boot Camp, top producers we talked about, Mike and Josh and, Brody and, all of these top people, Candy, who are going to be here. They're teaching you guys exactly what to do. Sorry about that. And, again, we're going to do a lot of really cool things. They're going to teach you guys how to do this quickly. So let's just go through the agenda real quick and we'll keep it moving. So agenda. All right. November 10th through the 12th. So November 10th, you'll notice every single morning, 7 a.m. start time. Guys, we're serious. 3 days where you get to take everything else that you have going on in life. You get to put it to the side and you get to come here and you get to focus. You get to take your full-time job, put it to the side. You get to take your family, put it to the side and come back to it with now a renewed confidence. 7 a.m., morning mindset training, ready to dial by 8. The first day of this event is going to be solely focused on one call closes and live transfers, because those are realistically what the newest agent is going to be doing. They're going to be working final expense, internet leads, people that are home right there on the spot. And we're going to be, from 8 a.m. to noon, we're going to be one call closing and live transferring right there. So you guys can hear live appointments, see people close. We're going to have leaderboards around the office. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lunch is going to be provided that first day. And then when we get back from lunch, we're going to have, a telesales, top producer training from any of these people that we've mentioned. Other people are added to this registration each day. And then at 6 p.m., we are going to do a business overview meeting. So that's going to be fantastic. We'll probably have, should have about 50 people for that overview. We've got a lot of people here in Greenville that are excited about this new office. So that'll be a lot of fun. You guys can hear a little bit about the business building side of things. And then we start back up at 7 a.m. on the 11th. Live dials again, but on the second day, we want to show you guys something a little bit different. The same people who focus on one call close, live transfer, they're going to be doing that. But there's a handful of us that do have some direct mail mortgage, and we want you guys to see what appointment setting can look like. Same day appointments. So dial from 8 a.m. to noon, setting appointments for the afternoon. So we're going to be doing, same day appointments, setting them between, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Because we've got some of us dialing on the West Coast, a 10 p.m. appointment in Charlotte, or Greenville is going to be 7 p.m. in Oregon or in California. So we're going to be running appointments, same day. You can watch some of the top producers, see how they close mortgage appointments versus final expense versus internet leads. Obviously, we're going to have lunch. We are going to have an overcome any objection session, which is going to be a lot of fun. Rapid fire objections for top producers, but not just for top producers. for anybody that wants to get in the ring and get some practice, we're going to teach you. We're going to put you on the spot. We're going to help you get better. And then at 10 p.m., we're going to do a creating a plan to rank advance in 2023 mastermind. This is where we're going to get real serious about our goals. I don't think that we spend enough time on our goals. I don't think we spend enough time on our why. These are the meetings that people leave and they make a decision that they're going to change their life. 10 p.m. It's late. I get it. It's a lock-in. That's the point. Next day, morning mindset training, live dials again, one call close, live transfer, another lunch, to be announced training topic, more live dials, more one call closes. And then we're going to close it out with a team barbecue, which is going to be at my house. Okay. So that'll be fun. Welcome you all in and have a good time. Last thing, and I'll bring these guys back in, is going to be just registration. If you want to register, go ahead and screenshot this, livinghopelockin.com, who's invited, serious agents. That's kind of how we're putting it. And we've got our office address, 3 hotels that are available. The Hyatt is literally, you can throw a rock from our office and hit the Hyatt. There's 2 other ones that are just behind the Hyatt. Maximum walk 5 minutes. So very, very close. We're on a strip with just dozens of options for food. Most of your guys' food is going to be provided. If you have questions, you're welcome to contact me. And, obviously we are going to do another one of these calls, maybe just a recording even, that we're going to send out to all the registered people about what's going to be a good lead plan. And we can kind of talk a little bit on this call about what these guys would do if they're coming in. But yeah, we hope to see you guys there. If you are planning on coming, go ahead, drop a 1 in the comments. If you drop a 1 in the comments, my staff's probably going to reach out to you to make sure you register. So excited to have that happen. But Mike, talk to us a little bit about your first lock-in that you did, things that you liked, things that you hope that, we can improve upon. And, if you're coming to this, what can you do to prepare for it so you can get the most out of it?
Yeah, I think some of the things I think that I overestimated, and hopefully this doesn't come across the wrong way, but I thought people worked harder. That was probably the biggest thing. When you have a big day, you think that people actually, this is like our daily routine, right? So for us, it's just a normal day. For a lot of people, it's not, they don't work late, they go home early, whatever. That's on you guys. But if you want to be successful, then you have to work. And one thing that I found, obviously is, as you create habits, becomes normal. And you can pretty much do anything you want, as long as you're working in your downtime or in your work time. Maybe some small things. I'm trying to think back to that time because, at the moment there was a few things. I think honestly, just the scheduling, just getting people to, participate from morning till night. Does that make sense? Because what and this is okay if this is you guys, but there was a different crowd on Thursday than it was Friday, and there was a different crowd Saturday than there was Friday. So it was almost like 3 different lock-ins the entire time. And, if that's you and you can only make it for Saturday, make it like that. I think that's probably the biggest, takeaway that I would definitely give to you guys. If you can't make all 3, for whatever reason, there's something going on, like you had a death in the family or a birth of a child, something like that you can't come, then come the day that you can. And be all in that day, because 1 day is better than none, 2 is better than, you get it, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. I don't really have a whole lot. It's kind of the same setup. So.
Sure. Now, how would you prepare as a new agent in whatever direction you want to go here, whether it's just, mindset around, hey, I'm going to take this seriously, or I'm going to make sure that I have, the right leads. I'm going to make sure I have a plan. What is it that, and we're going to give that plan, obviously, for someone who doesn't have one, but what would you recommend for someone to make the most out of this event?
Yeah. So we, on our website, we have all the stuff already there. So I would have people, ready with the scripts, start before the lock-in. I think that's probably the biggest recommendation. Start doing it before the lock-in. You want to have leads. It's the same stuff. You want to have leads. You want to know the script, if there's even a script, but something to kind of follow along. And then if you're already doing this in the home, I think this is the biggest thing that helped me is how you run your in-home. Just do it on the phone. You'll change that as you go, because you'll learn different things to say differently. But like if you're already in the home and you go and you sit down with, you know, Bob and Mary at the table and you fill out a financial inventory and you ask specific questions, that's all I do over the phone. They're just on speakerphone, right? So run the appointment the same way. And, you know, when you come to the lock-in, you're going to hear objections and stuff like that, or the way that we set it up or our presentation. You know, a lot of the presentation, everybody's a little bit different. You know, the main thing is you're just trying to avoid objections, and you get better at that. And my, you know, so-called presentation changes every month. Like I make little tweaks here and there. It gets different, right? A new way to, you know, avoid banking information. And then I start, you know, so that's the biggest thing. Just buy leads. Like I was on a call with Nina and Hayden this morning, and I think this is really good advice, something I'm going to apply. I mean, they're doing this at an insane level. So to me, they're the experts. You know, obviously, like I would get on a Zoom with your manager, right? Like, and I'm planning to do this as a small group with all of our agents with Valiant, but like get on like a 45-minute Zoom call, you know, goals, leads, expectations, right? And then like, for instance, if you're doing like 1, 2, 3 month internet leads or whatever, you know, the age stuff in the CRM, like 300 leads per week. So I would come with like 300 leads. Like they have the lead discount, at least 150 to like 300 leads, get some Facebook final expense, whatever you can get your hands on. It honestly doesn't matter. It's all the same for the most part, right? And then just have enough leads to dial so that you don't care. You just need opportunities. And I promise you, if like you just sit down and you dial all those leads that weekend and you talk to, I mean, it's 3 days. If you can like make a goal to have 8 presentations per day, right? Just 8, who cares what they say? 8 presentations, right? What's a presentation? In my opinion, it's when you get the social security number, right? When you get the social security number, that's a presentation. If you can get 8 of those a day, and in 3 days, my math's really bad. I believe that's 24 appointments, right? 24, there we go. 24 appointments in 3 days. I have a hard time not betting that you will close 5 sales. That's 300 leads, 8 appointments a day. And if you come in and you do that, you're going to leave 100 times better than you came. And that's my opinion.
I love it. So if we're looking at 300 leads from an age perspective, let's say no lead discount, let's say 1 and 3 month leads, what are we thinking ballpark investment would be to get yourself 300 1 to 3 month leads?
Yeah, it's like $1,200.
Okay.
To make, yeah, a lot.
And there very well might be a lead discount because there typically always is. So
Yeah.
that's something to definitely watch out for. And guys, guess what? If there's a lead discount that you see that's ending 3 days before the lock-in and it's 30% off, they're already a month old, buy them ahead of time. Don't be like, oh, I have to wait and dial them as fresh as they're already old. You know, it's not a big deal. Use the lead discount if you see one. So that's what I'd recommend. So I love that. I think that's good. 300 leads, 8 appointments a day. I think that's a good model. So
And 8 appointments, like if you're doing a 1-call close, right? Hey, go grab a pen. You get into it and you get the social. That's an appointment, right? I'm not meaning like you actually have to book. Everybody does it differently. I think we're learning different lead types work best for, you know, different styles. So, you know, once you learn to do it all, it's pretty simple.
yes, absolutely. I love it. Josh, tell us what you would do differently, you know, coming into a lock-in, knowing, you know, you're a new agent, you know, how would you best prepare yourself? How would you best recommend that a new agent takes it seriously to get the most out of it, to basically guarantee that they, you know, they come back with some confidence?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Mike kind of touched on it. First things first is do not wait. If you're brand new, don't wait until the lock-in to start calling. Had some agents came in and you know, they came in and they hadn't even picked up the phone one time. So it was a pretty rough go. You can waste a lot of time. And if you're going to come, you're going to drive or fly, you know, a pretty good distance to pick up the phone for the first time. And maybe you don't have your script together. You're not confident. The words just, you know, you pick up the phone, you don't know what you're going to say. So get started now. If that's you, be on live dials, pick up the phone, and get bumps and bruises so you can be in motion when you get there. Like Mike said, have all, just be set up, right? Doesn't matter what script, have a script, have your leads purchased. If you're using phone burner, have it uploaded, all that technical stuff. The only thing you should be concerned with day one is sitting down and picking up the phone at 8 a.m. right? If you're doing anything else at 8 a.m. day one, you have wasted your time. And if you're there for help, you're wasting other people's time too. So just have that done, kind of know what's going on by the time you get there. And think about, like, I was thinking about this the other day. It's the best analogy I could come up with why these work. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, I want to hear I want to hear what Candy says. I want to hear what Jamie says. If I could just listen to them and exactly what they do and say, then I can be successful." And that's not true. You're gonna be like, "Wow, this is incredibly boring. They just say the same thing over and over again, and somehow it works for them and it doesn't work for me." So think of your favorite action movie where the hero was trained by a mentor, right? Like any of the Rocky movies, like the Avenger movies, Batman Returns, like any of them where they're training. What's going on with the hero? They're like, they don't have the trainer saying, "Well, hey, this is how you fight a bad guy." He's working his butt off and his trainer's yelling at him to do it different the whole time. And when he gets tired and he falls down, if it's Rocky, he cusses at him a little bit and tells him to get up and try it again. We're not going to cuss at anybody, but like, that's the thing. You're going to be doing it. And then somebody else can go, hey, like next time, do it this way or do it that way. Cause you can listen to everybody else and what they say and their word tracks. But if you're not picking up the phone, dozens and dozens and dozens of times and having somebody else go, "Hey, maybe try this," you're just not going to get better like you said you wanted to. So that would be the two things.
So Josh, who should not come to this event?
If you're scared to invest in leads, don't come. Okay. If it sounds really good, you're like, "Oh man, if I go there, then I can get over the hump." But if you can't pick up the phone before, don't come, right? If maybe you're not on the call right now, but you have a brand new person. I'm not telling them not to come per se, but if you have a brand new person and you say, "Hey, what are your writing numbers?" and they don't know what you're talking about, like maybe don't come, because you're just going to sit there and then waste somebody's time for half a day going, "Hey, where's my writing numbers? What website do I go to? What's this? What's that?" Right? And this is the time to work harder in this little 72-hour window than you ever have. And if you do, you're going to come out and go, "Man, I'm so glad that I did that." Or maybe you have an unsupportive spouse and like, "Oh man, I really don't want to go to that." But like, you're going to spend money on leads anyway. Why not just spend a little bit more, get there, and then come back and go, "Honey, I made it happen." Right? So you don't keep putting out those promises and not coming through. And maybe it's just a promise to yourself. So if that's you and you're like willing to go through it, come. But if you're not set up, you're not going to buy leads, you haven't been down on the phone even just a little bit, like, just, that's cool. Like, stay home. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, just to touch on something you said right there, we were on a training call with Grady earlier, and Grady was like, "Hey, if anybody on here has an unsupportive spouse," he goes, "the reason that you have an unsupportive spouse is because they haven't seen you really work hard and get results. They haven't. They've seen you kind of half dip your toes in the water. And honestly, they don't trust that." And this is with all due respect. They don't trust your work ethic to be able to take care of their family with this opportunity. And it's really hard to say, because, and the reason I think I have credibility to say that is because that was me for the last couple opportunities before I got into insurance. Like, getting into insurance, like, my wife's never seen me work so hard, ever. Like, previous businesses, it was always, "Hey babe, I promise someday it's going to get better. Hey, I promise someday, you're going to be able to come home. I promise, someday you won't have to teach. I promise, you're going to be able to do what you want, and I'll be able to take care of us, and I'll be the provider, and I'll be the leader. I promise. But, years went by and it wasn't happening. And it's like those promises were starting to fall on deaf ears. Then I came here, and I think the right opportunity with the right mentorship and the right system really, a lot of people say, "Oh, I heard something the other day," and I got some friends who are, still in network marketing, and, I'm not going to talk, down on that industry, too much, but they were like, "Hey, I went to this convention, and, they said to me, at our national convention, well, if you don't make it here, you're not going to make it anywhere else. Because if you can't work hard here, you're going to take that into any other opportunity. And I agree. And also, I think there's a little bit of manipulation there to keep you on auto ship, be like, hey, if you're not going to make it here, you're not going to make it anywhere else. For me, it really was, I needed the right opportunity. I came here and I saw what it could do for my family. I decided to put my nose down. I decided to work hard. And, now my spouse trusts me to take care of the family. So if you have an unsupportive spouse, maybe they need to see you win here. Maybe they need to see you because the other thing is, like Grady talked about, like, are you grumbling about leads to your family and your spouse? Are you grumbling about how people, these leads didn't actually fill it out? Are you just like grumbling about how it's not working? Are you just like, I crushed it today? I got better today. I helped a family. And like, when they see that, like, that's when you get a supportive spouse. You want to talk about getting confidence in an event like this. Again, there's going to be more of these in the future. There's going to be our national convention. That's going to be great. Different events for different things. That event's going to build belief in where this company's going in the industry. This event is going to build confidence and skills, practical things where you can walk away, make money, and then learn disciplines that you can do when no one else is around. Like, think about the idea, like for me, like, I've had my ups and downs, going to the gym, being an athlete over the course of my life, all these different things. And, now moved to a new city. My wife and I are like, maybe we should consider personal trainers. It's like, hey, like, I used to work out really hard. I know what all the exercises are, but, hey, a personal trainer, they'll get in there, they'll give me a regimen. They'll say, hey, you're going to do these 8 exercises on this day and these 8 exercises the next day, these 8 exercises the next day. And if I do that for 4 weeks, I bet you after 4 weeks, I probably will feel confident to do all those things by myself. I kind of look at it like, if you come to an event like this, you're around people who are experts. You can see them do it, watch them do it together, like working out with your personal trainer for a month. Then now you're like, well, I know when I go to the gym, first I warm up this, then I do a deadlift, to warm up my back, and then I do that. And, you have like a regimen of what you're going to do. So now you come here, you basically work out with somebody, working insurance with somebody. And then now you have those disciplines you get to take home for yourself. Whereas if I'm being totally honest, you get back in the gym after not being in there for 6 months, you walk around there like a lost puppy dog. Like, oh, where do I go? Where do I start? Versus, Mike and I go work out together. Josh and I go work out together. They've been working out nonstop. They're gonna be like, all right, first we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. And then now go take it home and do it on your own. That's kind of how I equate something like this. So, guys, we're excited. We want to see you win. We want you there. Nothing is ever mandatory. We'll never force anything upon you. But if what you're doing right now from a helping families perspective is not cutting it, like, what kind of sacrifices are you willing to make to learn the information? So last thoughts, guys, Mike, any last thoughts on, someone's on the edge, like, should I come? Should I not come?
Well, if you don't think you should quit. Unless you're like, helping 30, 40 families a month and you don't care to build an agency, then stay home. But I say that and it's funny, but it's serious. Like how do you not want to get better? Anything, right? Not just insurance. If you don't want to get better, if you don't want to learn, then why are you here? It's to me, I just want to be around people that want to win, because that makes me want to win more and, pushes me. So, also too, you want to be around people that, lift you up. So, we're one big team and we're here to help people, but we just want to be around people that want to win. And that's kind of the whole point of it, is just to get people together, people that it's going to be, and don't come, or I shouldn't say, don't not come because you don't feel like you're good enough. That's not at all what this, like, everybody's going to be at different experience levels, and some people are better at different things, right? It's for all of us to get better in all of our weaknesses. So, if you suck on the phones, come get good. If you can't close them on the phone because you get stuck when, with objections, come, because that's what the point is. So, my thing is just be there and be prepared and like, just come with an open mind. And one little tip I would give is so if you come for 3 days, don't spend all your time with like one person. Like, get around every single person and learn a little bit about what they do best. and take notes. Like, what do I do best? What does Jamie do best? What does Candy? Like, what does Brody? What does Joseph? Like, what do all these people do best? And write it down and just work on getting better at that. Because if you take the best, everybody's best, and you put it up together, you probably sell $500,000 a month, on your own. So I'm being funny, but seriously, like, at the end of the day, just show up, prepared, and just be ready to learn and work. And, I'm just excited to learn and be around everybody.
Love it. Josh, same question. Someone's on the edge. Any last encouragement?
Yeah, I mean, if the whole saying that you are the equivalent of the 5 people you spend time around, if that is true, then you have to come, right? Because if you're just, again, as Jamie put it, you're making dials from your spare bedroom, you're not around anybody that's doing anything that you want to do. All right. So this is the place to be. Take a chance, get out of your comfort zone, get it done, and everything that Mike said, right? Just be prepared and listen, Jamie, Mike, myself, Nat, Candy, Logan, all the people that, sell at a super high level and are doing well, guaranteed we'll probably learn the most, right? Because we're there with intention, and, we're going to hear something. I might hear Mike say something, or I might have a conversation with Jamie, or who knows, because I'm going there looking to not only, right, get something out of it for me, but I'm like, hey, what can I learn that's going to help me with my next new agent? What does Mike say that, maybe I say it a certain way, but I try to explain it. It comes out weird, but when Mike said it, makes a lot of sense. And so if you come with that attitude of like, I am going to get something out of it, then it will be beneficial.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. I'm just going to throw up this last slide one more time, guys. Again, livinghopelockin.com. Screenshot it. If you don't have it already, it's on Facebook, Instagram. It's all over the place. Probably got emailed out to everybody too. If you have questions, if you're hesitant about coming, you can always call me or text me. Happy to walk you through it. Happy to help give you the kick in the butt you need potentially to get there. And we're excited. We're gonna be back to interviewing some special guests next week. Just getting prepared for this, guys. We're excited. We're excited to pour into you. Join us on different live dials until then. Living Hope live dials, FFL live sales, so many different places you can learn. That's what this is all about. Being a student of the game. We're all trying to get better. All of us here on the call today, we know that we do not have it figured out, but we know that we have a couple things figured out to help you get to a point where you can at least, make some money, take care of your family, and, live a pretty decent life, and then, we're not all like Candy, helping 100 families a month. We all want to learn from her, get to that point, but we're excited for y'all to be there. So everybody have an amazing night. Register, livinghopelockin.com. Shoot me a text, shoot me a call. Let me know if you're on there, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace out, guys.